All right, folks, we're back with another weekly update. And Clay, you want to talk about some of your upcoming events first?
Sure thing. I just posted to my website, www.nomiforager.com, my winter foraging chaga class, chaga and plants. And then we're going to have a tea tasting afterwards and some samplings of some food. And I'm very excited about it. I usually have like less than great attendance for my winter classes, but I don't know why, because winter classes are fun. You get to learn about stuff. You get to get outside. You get off the couch. You're not watching Netflix. You know, it's exciting. So that's going to be on January. Let's see here. Looking this up in real time. January 13th,
Okay.
and that's up by me, Kingsley, Michigan.
Okay, so
So
Kingsley,
yeah,
Michigan.
yeah, Kingsley, Michigan. It's going to be by me, and like I said, I can't stress enough how excited I am about teaching winter foraging classes,
Are you going to
winter
be
plot.
wearing shorts?
No, I will not be wearing shorts. In fact, I have encouraged people when they sign up to, if they have them, bring snowshoes potentially, because sometimes we get a lot of snow here. Honestly, though, it's been years since we had enough snow to merit even using them.
All right.
But that doesn't stop people every winter from using snowshoes on trails around here with 2 inches of snow.
So lame. But anyway, so let's talk about last time we had our weekly update. We wanted to talk about your Substack, but we just didn't really, we didn't want to go
Oh, yeah.
long on it. Um,
Hmm.
But so your Substack article you wrote, I just had a few points that I wanted to point out because you said you'd. It's more instinctual. It's more in our DNA. It's way less boring, and it doesn't hurt to be deathly still and sit in a tree stand. Um,
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% on that. I look at it from a different aspect and a different lens, though. A lot of people, one, can't because they're either limited mobility, whatever the case may be, to where they can't stalk through the woods like that.
Hmm.
Another one that I thought of was if you just don't have the acreage or property, especially like people that hunt private land, like
Hmm.
if you've got 5 acres, you could still effectively kill a deer, right? But
Hmm.
you're not going to kill a deer by walking through that 5 acres. And I mean, what are you
Hmm.
going to spot? You know what I mean? But if you sit still and you sit in a tree stand, your odds go way up of a deer passing through there.
Yeah.
Um, and then the one other point that I thought of was also public land. The same thing. Some tracts of public land just aren't that large, especially in other states. Michigan's got a lot of public land, makes it easy to do
Mhm.
such. But I mean, you get into Illinois, you're talking some parcels are only 200 acres. There might not even be any deer in those 200 acres until a certain time of day.
Huh.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
that was some of my thoughts on that. And then also the one thing, and this is the big thing, um, deer, big whitetail, mature whitetails. The odds of you stalking up on one versus ambushing it, I
Hmm.
mean, are astronomically in your favor by setting up in the right location and having it come through.
Yeah. Um,
That's
totally,
most of the
totally
people.
agree.
That's most of the people, Clay. That
Yeah.
that still a great article. I see your point. I really do. Um,
Hmm.
and I agree with you. It is boring as heck sometimes, especially like that one day that I shot that doe and had to go
Hmm.
back and get her the next morning. Same thing. That was boring, terrible. Like wanted to beat my head on the tree. Terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
but then the opportunity also presented itself. Now I'm not saying I stayed in the same exact tree, but I was out in the woods all day in two different trees.
Wow. Um, you know what? I've been taking my, or well, was taking my son out, for the last few days of our rifle season, and we were sitting over a cedar swamp, and man, I mean, he's just got the exact. He must have the exact same condition as me. He starts falling asleep. He's like, you know, it's and he'll just be like, "Oh, I hate this," and and yeah, and we had oh, I didn't talk about this, but I took him out. Um, it was one of the last days of our rifle season, and I took him out in the morning. We got out there before opening, and then we heard first a snort, like a snort wheezing buck just going crazy. And then all of a sudden we see two does walk through, and they kind of paused and they were like eating on some stuff. And then, he had didn't have a good shot because of the trees. And then that buck kind of like started coming in. You could hear it getting louder, and he ran them off. And that was exciting, right? My son liked that. But the thing that I always come up with is like it is usually not like that. Usually we're sitting there, me and him, and I'm like, don't worry, a deer could come out at any minute, and then we wait like 3 hours and you don't see a thing, and it's like, how do you convince your 13-year-old, especially in the age of like overstimulation,
That I
to
think
like
that's a very valid point, though. But at the same time, you're learning lessons. Any kid who goes out on his first time and shoots like this just massive buck, right? They're at a
mm,
huge disadvantage because when your son does shoot one and get that deer, it's going to mean so much more. Just like my first deer.
mm,
How many? It was like 4 years or 5 years or something like that that I hunted before I ever got a deer. But I
yeah.
still did it. I'd get up, I'd go out there, didn't know what the heck I was doing, right?
Mhm.
But I did it, and eventually started figuring out from all my mistakes and just putting in the work. My first deer, I mean, when that happened, it was just like it meant so much more, you
Yeah.
know. Um, all the days, work, everything put into it. I mean, it just meant so much more. So my buddy, his kid, actually shot one. Um, First 20 minutes in a stand on a farm. First time out, I think, and just hit one with a French war bow, and I mean, since then though, he's had some hard lessons
Uh-huh.
because he's gone out and not seen anything. He's gone places and taken a shot and hit limbs that were in the way that he didn't realize were there. I mean,
Yeah.
so I don't know if it put the bug in him by getting that one right off the bat, but now he's got
Hmm.
like a long road of like heartache and mistakes and everything in front of him that he's got to deal with. So I don't know. I don't necessarily know which way is better, but I feel like the other way with like the struggle and everything going and
Hmm.
being able to persevere and persist through that is going to make you a stronger and better hunter in the end for him.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think though about people like in regards to like stalking, like Remy Warren, who seems like it like some of the stuff that I've heard him talk about through the years just seems impossible, you know.
Okay. Well, I don't. Okay. So Remy Warren's mostly Western, right?
Okay,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're you're not going to have too many guys. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. There's a guy named that recently passed. Rest his soul. Amazing, amazing human. Uh, Fred Aspel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he also has Aspel wool and all that kind of stuff. And you could still. His wife runs the company, and they still manufacture and ship really cool like anoraks. Um, and they're made out of, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if they're sourced here, but they're made in the United States. Really cool products. Anyway, he would stalk and still hunt throughout Michigan, Wisconsin, like the Midwest and everything, and was in Pennsylvania, and just a killer. Like he was good at what he did, and he'd actually taken some rather large deer. But he would
Huh.
explain it as within walking a football field within 2 hours sometimes.
Yeah, I know it is really
So,
slow.
so I
Yeah.
mean, if you think about that, 2 hours to just get 100 yards, but that's what he would do.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but some amazing books and stuff like that. But I mean, there's guys out there that do it in the Midwest, but most of the people that are doing stocks like that, it's out west. It's way more wide open. They're dropping
Mhm.
in. They're up on, ridges and stuff like that, and glassing drainages, and like snow chutes on sides of a mountain, and dropping in and playing the thermals and going after them. It's not impossible, but
Yeah.
think of how many stalks they've done that they haven't blown,
Mhm.
or that they have blown before they started getting pretty good at it. Another guy, I
Yeah.
don't know if you know who he is, but he is absolutely freaking amazing, and he's like a mountain goat, is Brian Barney.
Mm-mm.
That dude is a
No.
freaking stud.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've watched him go up a mountain in a matter of minutes. Like, just
Interesting.
something that would take you or me, a flatlander, doing like, 2,000 vertical. That dude will
Mhm.
do it in like 40 minutes, half hour. Like,
I know like somebody from a mountain would call me a flatlander, but
you
you
are
calling me a
hilly.
flat,
You're
yeah,
not,
we are.
we're starkly different as far as terrain. I do agree with you on that. You do, where you're at in Michigan is definitely not flat.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, really, because it's not like real rocky either. It's like almost
Mm-mm.
dunes, like
Yeah, it is.
with just like bunch of forest slapped on top of the sand hills. It's,
Yeah. Well, dude, I live what is it like? Well, right now I probably live 45 minutes, but I used to live a half hour from the sand dunes,
yeah,
Yeah. And I mean that's basically what so the sand dunes are closer to the water. That's why they have more erosion and you can see more of the sand, but just imagine that's what we have in here too as well, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, it's definitely different. You definitely have to worry about your thermals a little bit more than I do,
Yeah.
and I think that's a
Um
big part of your hunting that you still probably need to figure out.
yeah, so I was actually I got the Onyx wind thing going at these spots and I've been checking it and what's hilarious
It's way
is
off, probably.
it's off every time.
Yeah. Um,
And
Almost
yeah.
all of them are. I mean, so what they're going to do is they're going to take like the prevailing of the day, and that's what
Mhm.
you're going to get. But if you take milkweed, that's the best thing you can do with milkweed other than eat it, is take the
Mhm.
floss and carry it with you and just keep dropping them, like one every 5 minutes, just see what it's doing. And I don't know if
Yeah.
you know this, but one of the things that I think is really cool is how many times do you go hiking through the woods and you find a mylar balloon?
Hmm. Well, I don't know what is a mylar.
A balloon, like a balloon from like a birthday party, like a
Oh, I don't know that I have found
really?
one. Yeah,
Oh, come on. I bet you have. You had to have. Just you've
I
never
don't
gone
think
through the
so.
woods and found a balloon.
No, I don't think so.
Get out of here. Okay. Well, now you're ruining this for me. But so mylar balloons, if you think about them, they got helium in them. They float, they get away, right? And then the winds carry them and they start drifting down. Well, then
Hmm.
once they start drifting down, two things catch them: the winds and the thermals.
Mhm.
So where those thermals hit them tends to drift them into an area where thermals naturally go. And then also the winds swirl until it lands in a certain spot. Okay.
Hmm.
With that being said, once it's on the ground and it actually settles there, it's because the wind typically swirls. Where you find one of those balloons, you're probably going to find a big buck bed.
Huh.
So
Okay.
the reason being is because they're using their nose for the same purpose where that balloon settled.
So,
They're
if
finding
I'm
the thermals that are drifting, you know what I'm saying? Like they've got cover on whatever side. They've got the
Mhm.
thermals pushing to them or whatever it may be. And then the wind swirls enough to where they can get a good sense of everything around them.
Mm, you know what? I'm thinking of a good new strategy for us. We make publicly challenged mylar balloons, and then we just sell them to people. They can inflate them in their hunting spots, and then shoot them with an arrow when they're in the sky.
No, you
But
don't want to
pop
shoot
them.
it. You want it to still have the helium in it and let it settle. But so no,
Okay,
we're
so
not going to pollute
make
the environment. That's a horrible
a
idea, Clay, and
tiny,
I know
tiny
you're
hole
doing
in it,
it.
right? And then kind of have it float over your hunting property, and that it'll find the bucks for you.
That sounds no. Can you imagine the environmentalists, the amount of lawsuits we would have?
Yeah, that would be pretty crazy.
What are all
Um,
these balloons?
but
What's this logo?
yeah, I did want to say though before we zoom past it, the other day we got a newsletter or
We
sorry,
got
not
a
a newsletter.
comment. Yes. Somebody reached out with
Yeah, we
feedback.
got a comment. Yeah, yeah. And I would like to take a minute to read it if that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So this is from Kurt. I'm gonna say Eagle, but it might be Eggle.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know.
yeah, it
Kurt.
says, yeah, Kurt. It says, I just listened to your most recent update. Congrats to both of you on your deer harvest. In this episode, you both had talked about how whitetail tastes, specifically about corn-fed deer. While I was up at camp for the Wisconsin deer rifle season, we hunt Marinette County. I was hanging out with my uncle and a friend of his. Both of them might be considered old timers, both being past 70 years old. Anyhow, they were recalling old times and old friends and got to talking about how the taste of venison has changed over the years as more ag has been introduced into the area. So basically, he was talking about how we were saying that corn fed versus, as I like them, cedar swamp fed with no agriculture. And he agreed, or at least
The
his
old
70-year
timers
old,
do.
yeah, the old timers. And I think that was really cool. And also, I just got to say, Kurt, your punctuation and grammar is on point, man. I love it. I noticed all the commas and periods. That's excellent. Nowadays everybody's got these crazy wacko run-on sentences.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So,
But,
thanks, Kurt, for reaching in. And then I just want to say that Publicly Challenged also has some new shirts in the works. There's some new designs that are being worked on, and they will be released very shortly. And I think people will like them. I hope they will like them. And they're all deer based. So, going to be pretty cool. Not exactly the time of season, but they're t-shirts, so you can wear them any time of the year. And hopefully you get them for Christmas or something. Hopefully they drop before then. And
well, you could still get the t-shirts, the old t-shirts, which are still awesome
yep,
at
yep.
publiclychallenged.com.
Make a great Christmas present. Sign up for the email. And if you enter your email, I believe you get a 20% off first-time use coupon.
Oh,
and I'm also thinking there may come a little closer to Christmas be some free shipping as well.
Badass.
Yeah, yeah. So that's all I've got, I guess. But they're going to be pretty cool.
Well, yeah, and I would like to say that if anybody else wants to write in, leave a comment, send some hate mail our way or some love mail, we are willing to hear it.
And they can reach us at publiclychallenged.com and contact us, or they can slide into Clay Bowers' DMs, send him some lewd pictures if they want. That's fine too. And you can hit up Publicly Challenged DMs on Facebook or Instagram as well.
Nice. Yep.
All right.
Anyway, I'm all good too. So I'll see you guys next time.
Yep.